Eclipse monoblocks and Eclipse stereo, beyond output power, what's the sonic intent difference?
There's no sonic intent difference in any of our products. Our products are designed to be completely transparent and neutral. So what we're trying to do is deliver the performance that the artist intended. So the difference, I guess, between the stereo and the mono is that you get better channel separation, you get better imaging. Everything is just that bit better.
How is that?
You have separate channels, separate power supplies. To start with, the stereo has a power supply that powers both channels. The monos, obviously, they have an independent power supply. So you get channel separation is improved, but also you just have much more power available. And that allows you to drive those transients and to really grab the music a little bit better.
Well, part of the amplifier is doing the real magic. If output stage isn't the radical part.
Well, the output stage, we've said in the past, it's not the radical part, but within that more conventional design, there are tweaks and elements that make it quite different to most. If you sit down and listen to these products, I think you'll hear what's different. We take away the ghost notes, we take away the crossover distortion. Valve amps sound wonderful and engaging. They're rich and bloomy because that's the even order harmonics. Transistor amps have odd harmonics which can tend to be a little bit harsh at times, and they're very hard to manage. So if you take away both of those, what you're left with is the music, and the music speaks for itself.
Eclipse physical separation and shielding, which noise paths are you breaking with the layout?
First, the electrical, the noise generated in the power supply. It's a dual switch mode power supply, rectifies up to about 500 volts and then down to the power supply rails. So separating the power supply from the amplification circuitry, that reduces any electrical interference, and obviously the mechanical as well. We have 10 millimeter aluminium plate that separates the input stage from the final power amp stage. But even within the final power amp stage, there's additional shielding to separate various elements of the circuitry. There's a lot of shielding that happens inside there, mostly from electrical perspective, but also to some extent mechanical.
You've mentioned the more affordable amplifier range and even deck ideas. How do you decide what becomes a product?
The market decides. Ultimately, we're led by what the market wants. We could develop a product that doesn't meet customer expectations. There's no point doing that. So we're guided by what the market wants. Some respects, I look at the number of inputs that are required on an amplifier. And to me, these days, you probably only need one or two inputs. But customers want more inputs. And so we put more inputs on it, ultimately guided by what the market wants.
What is your number one engineering battle in phono?
The objective obviously is musicality, but what we're targeting on this particular product is the noise floor. We want this to be very, very quiet. And so ultimately noise floor is what we're targeting with this stage of the development. Bruce has got some very interesting ideas about how to combat noise for this design. Much like the original DM amplifier was very different to anything else that's been on the market, I think the topology of this particular phono pre is going to be very interesting.
How do you evaluate a real-world noise immunity?
Real-world noise immunity, the only way you can do that is to put it in a natural listening environment. So, we put all our products in natural listening environments and we determine, what the noise impact is. Another one is it's the battery drill test. If you run a battery drill next to a product, you'll know how noise immune it is. A friend of mine in the UK is developing a cardiac monitoring system, a very sensitive device that is looking for some very detailed signatures of what's happening in the heart. And so one of the challenges they had was noise. Picking up very delicate cardiac signals is difficult to do. So I learned this from them. They have the battery drill test. They get the device, they attach it to the patient, and they run a battery drill next to it because there's a lot of electrical noise generated in that battery drill motor.
So medical technology helps.
Again, that's an example, not necessarily an example of what guided our development, but having experience with a broad range of industries and what people do in different industries just informs how you go about your process.
It was also mentioned an integrated amplifier coming later. Mm-hmm. Is an integrated amplifier still part of Halcro's plan?
Very much. Yeah, we're developing that at the moment in parallel with the phono stage.
What's the target users?
The typical target user is anyone who has an integrated amplifier now, a very high-end integrated amplifier that's looking for the next place to go. So we're expecting the performance will be better as good as or better than existing competitors. And, we're looking for that customer who's looking to engage more with the music.
Will the integrated amp be Eclipse level in one box or part of the more affordable range you previously mentioned?
It'll be more affordable. It's very difficult to build that into one box and maintain that performance. I think we might attempt that in the future, but for now, the integrated is going to be a step down in performance and much more affordable. And we hope to reach a wider market so that a wider market can enjoy what these amplifiers do. It'll retain much of the same sonic lack of signature, if you will. Very transparent, very open, very engaging, but for perhaps a more affordable market. And we're thinking of putting a couple of expansion slots in there so that it can be a one-box solution with some plug-in cards for not the phono level that we're talking about, but a very good phono stage and potentially some digital sources as well.
Who's designing the phono stage for that one then?
We're doing that in-house based on some internal research.
What kind of volume control method do you prefer? Relay ladder, register network, transformer, or something novel?
For me, I think the switched relay ladder is probably the cleanest.
Well, what matters most to you in deciding the volume control?
Lack of distortion. Again, you could talk about linearity, you could talk about a range of things. For me personally, an adjustment of 0.5 dB, it doesn't matter whether that's an exact step. So linearity in the volume change is not necessarily important to me, but making sure that we eliminate distortion from the entire signal path is the guiding light for everything we do.
Halcro is known for serious protection strategies. How do you keep protection invisible to the music in an integrated design?
The same way we do it in the Eclipse range. The protection is not in circuit, the protection is parallel to the circuit. So we sense what's happening in the circuit and we provide that protection in parallel. Very, very fast protection, but it's not in circuit, it's not in line with the music.